Apologies for absence, please.
Chair, I've had apologies from Councillor Viv Thomas, Councillor Vaughan Thomas and Councillor Young, and we're still waiting for Councillor Stootley, who may appear once the meeting started. Okay.
Well, if we do, it'll be too late if we start. Declarations of interest, anyone?
None, Chair.
Yes, Jude. Yeah. Okay, minutes of the last meeting, do we agree to a quick record?
Chair, just before, Councillor Lubbock, as a ward councillor, but non-prejudicial, I take it. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, we move on to planning applications. We've only got the one, and I'll ask our planning officer now to go through the application. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. So the application that we have
Yeah.
before us today is for the Cedars, which is a site located in the west of the city. The application is for the installation of some mobility scooter stores around the site to provide residents with storage facilities at various locations, which I'll go through. This is the site that we have here. So you can see the site outlined in red. Sorry, let me pointer up. So you can see the site outlined in red, and with the accommodation located in several blocks around the site. The predominant character of the area is of residential dwellings on relatively large plots with a variety of styles around the site. There is a school located just here to the south as well. In terms of the proposal is for the installation of a block providing storage for 4 mobility scooters in this location here, and 2 separate stores providing storage for 12 mobility scooters in total in this location here. The application has been revised a number of times during the course of the application, and most of the objections that we've received relate to previous schemes which had issues that have been ironed out, essentially. In terms of the mobility stores themselves, this is the appearance of one of the 6-bay mobility stores, and this is the appearance of the 4-bay, relatively simple. This is an aerial view of the site. The location of the stores would be here, one of them here next to that white car there, and the other one being located up here within an area of grass. And these are some photos showing those 2 areas. This is the area of grass that would contain storage for 12 mobility scooters, and another view. And this is the back of a number of the units of accommodation around the site. And then this is a view from a little lane that runs off Mount Pleasant, showing the location of the store, which would be just here on an area of hard standing. And this is looking in the opposite view, with the proposed location being just here. In terms of the application itself, the issues that have been raised by objectors, as I say, relate mainly to issues that there were with previous schemes, that being impact on trees, impact on access to the mobility stores, with residents being keen to have access for themselves. So the stores have been spread out a little bit more so that more people can benefit from those stores being close to their front doors as they obviously need to be. And other issues that have been raised relate to the to overshadowing. So I think there were issues with them being located close to people's windows in the past, and people were concerned about that being their primary outlook. But as you can see now, they're located well away from anyone's windows. The revised locations don't raise any planning issues. There are obvious public benefits to be had from the location of some mobility stores on this site to provide residents with a more convenient storage facility for them, and to provide access for the ability for disabled residents to stay in this accommodation for longer. And there are no concerns in terms of trees. There are no remaining concerns around the overshadowing, and the areas on which the stores would be located are not used for anything in particular at the moment. And this space here is not a car parking space, it should be noted. That's just located just inside the car parking space. So there is no change to the number of car parking spaces available on the site. Recommendation is to approve, subject to the conditions listed in the report.
Thank you, Chair. Mike?
A couple of questions, a couple of obvious questions.
So we'll move on to questions to the officer.
Will people be able to charge their scooters in these? I mean, is there charging facilities in the new storage? And also, as the people are mobility scooter users, will they be able to get from wherever they're living to the locations okay?
I believe there will be charging facilities inside them. I think that's the purpose of them, is to enable people to store them there full time, and not have to locate them elsewhere while they're charging. And the new locations have been the idea was that on initial submission they hadn't discussed the locations with the residents. During the course of the application, they have done that and located them in places that work for the people that need them.
So the residents are happy?
Yeah.
Questions on that?
Councillor Peake? No, Peake. Both.
That's all right, Chair.
I'll take the glasses off.
So the simple question is, didn't realise they were electrified, obviously makes sense. Obviously you put laying cable in the ground, can you give assurance that the cable direction is connected to the mains? Doesn't affect the roots of the T-board trees.
Yeah, that's been checked over as part of the application.
Can I ask a question? Are these free?
As far as I understand,
Have they got to buy one?
as far as I understand, they will be provided free of charge, but that doesn't need to be a planning consideration anyway.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
But yeah, as far as I know.
we've been called on that before. Councillor Quincy?
So where do people presently keep their mobility scooters? And how many mobility scooters are there on the Cedars?
I don't know the answer to your second question, but in answer to your first question, I believe people sort of store them in corridors and little entrances to their flats and things, none of which is ideal.
So this is miles better than that?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. Obviously, people on the site do have mobility scooters, and they must be storing them somewhere, but it's in a sort of ad hoc fashion.
Councillor Abbott?
Yes, I think just to add a bit of context to that, I mean, they have to leave them outside in some places, if there are flats here, but if there aren't any inside spaces, then they do have to leave them outside and they get wet and they get all sorts of problems. But I was just thinking about the aesthetics of these buildings. We haven't actually got we say it's corrugated, well, it's metal, isn't it? Shed. Yeah. I mean, I think there's certainly, but they do stick out a bit as looking, well, they are temporary, I suppose, you could take them up again, but I don't think they're very aesthetically pleasing, although they are painted green. Green metal boxes, really, aren't they? And it's Broadland district, Broadland housing, and although they do keep the grounds very, very well.
Fantastic.
It's just that I don't think that they blend in terribly well. But I do accept that probably it's necessity because of the cost of doing it, and it's good that they are going to do it in response to their residents. We may well see more of this coming up with regard to our own residents who live in sheltered housing schemes. But I suppose the question is, was there ever any consideration of a more aesthetically pleasing building or buildings going up?
I think given the size of them and given their functional nature, and the fact that they are colouring them in a sort of a colour that will fit in as best as it can with the surrounding area, we as officers were satisfied that the impact of the design would be acceptable.
Okay, just remember there's questions, not discussion, yeah? Councillor Colbert? Councillor Sands? Sue?
I mean, I agree that there should be a storage fund, but the fact that they've had mobility scooters, and it's the same in all our wards, with people who have mobility scooters, they keep them near their front door so they don't have to walk very far, as they do on mobility scooters. So is there, from where they're being stored, is there easy access for people with more mobility to get to their units?
So,
I'm also thinking, is it covered maybe for inclement weather, that sort of thing?
both of the stores are located, let me get back to the pictures. Both of the stores are located on paths, on hard standing, or very adjacent to hard standing paths. So from this store here, which would be located about there, there are paths all the way around the site that would allow people with relatively easy access to a lot of the units. Most of the units of accommodation are located in this block that's just next door. And then the other one is on hard standing, and this again houses a lot of the units. So it's a relatively short walk between the proposed siting of it and the front doors of people's units.
It's not covered.
It's not covered, no.
Councillor Chairman?
So obviously it's a no-brainer on another level. I'm just curious because obviously we've got demographic changes and an aging population. You would imagine that there will be far more of these built in the future, and this could be an opportunity to encourage maybe green roofs or the application of solar. If they're going to be charging, there's in situ opportunities there. And it just strikes me, I would imagine when there were planning people doing parking many years ago and there weren't many cars, and they could have set a precedent at that time, and we could possibly set a precedent now about encouraging green roofs or solar application on these kind of structures, so that moving forward, as they become more frequent, we can then cite this as an example. And seeing as this has been brought to this committee, I feel it's something which is worth.
Where's the question?
Still on questions, not discussion.
Well, if my question is, can we ask for that to be applied?
Yeah.
I appreciate your points and absolutely agree that there would be benefits to doing both of those things, or one of those things. But we have to consider here whether this is refusable without those things, and the answer to that has to be no, in my opinion. We can note in the minutes that that's been a suggestion, and it's definitely something that we could explore with future applications. But as I say, it's not in my opinion enough to refuse the application. Yeah.
Okay, well, is this discussion now, or at least just going to be question?
Chair, sorry, my comment was that's not acceptable in policy terms or supported by policy terms.
It's not a requirement of planning policy.
You.
Yeah.
Councillor who? I've forgotten the name, sorry.
I can't write.
Hannah?
Understand how wide the box is going to be and how people will get in them. Do they need to squeeze past the mobility scooter, or will it be quite easy to get in and step on?
So my understanding is that my understanding is that the units are that there is a separate door for each one, so they would be pulled in and out of the store in a forward and backwards manner, and they would be separately locked for use.
Councillor Price? Oh,
Sorry, so people would have to pull out their scooter before being able to get on, because it doesn't sound very accessible to me.
I don't know the answer, to be honest, in terms of whether that can be done electronically. They may well be able to press a button on it to reverse it in and out. I've never touched a mobility scooter, so I don't know. But
Councillor Posh.
Okay, well, okay, so just to pick up, these are questions, okay? You say it's not in the policy to do that. You've noted it's not in the policy. Can you explain how we get that into policy as a committee right now? And can we make that happen at the next opportunities? So can we not explain how we can do that? The second question is, you just said you don't know how they're going to get it in and out. You're assessing the design. Are these bespoke? Are they off? Are they produced normally? Can we have more information about how somebody with mobility issues is supposed to use the facility? Whether or not, and then I guess the follow-up is, if they're not fit for purpose, can they be refused on those kind of grounds? You know, so let's understand some more context about these kind of storage units. Thank you.
So the units have been designed for this purpose. They are off-the-shelf products that are built for the use of the storage of mobility scooters. This is the manufacturer's name. The purpose of them is for this purpose. People who use a mobility scooter have mobility issues. I'm confident that has been considered in the design of them. In terms of influencing planning policy, this committee is a decision-making committee. It's not a policy-writing committee. The route for doing that is separate. Sustainable Development Panel makes recommendations and comments on planning policy as it is amended, and then that goes to Cabinet for approval. The way for you as councillors to influence planning policy is through the normal consultation methods. So this committee here is not doesn't have any direct influence over that, but you as councillors obviously do through your normal means.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll move on to discussion now. Another question, Councillor Lovett.
Yeah, I very much welcome what Councillor Champion has said. And could we possibly write a letter to Broadland Housing through the applicant, Sam Coughlin, and say that we would very much like to see solar panels and or green roofs, and suggest it to him. I think it's just worth pushing it a bit, and I think it's something we should put at the heart of what we're deciding, really.
I mean, you as councillors could do that, or you as a committee could decide to do that potentially. I'd need to ask Jackie whether that's possible for the committee to do. Yeah, the committee could do that. Okay. So that might be something that you decide to do. Yeah.
Okay, move on to discussion now. Anyone wish to come in?
Has it been moved to seconded, Chair?
The recommendation is to approve, and I move the recommendation. We've got a seconder. Thank you. Any discussion, Councillor Champion?
I just want to make the observation that one of the issues which is very prominent within our city is pavement parking, bins on pavement. We can build all the shelters for these in the world, but the accessibility of our city is in many ways questionable. And in relation to my earlier point about demographic changes, I think it's something that the council should be addressing with a great deal of urgency.
It's not a full council meeting. I mean, we can discuss everything you want to discuss. But
but it's a discussion.
But we're already discussing these plans here. So if no one else wishes to speak, we'll move straight. Do you want to speak, Councillor Sanders?
I was going to say, I understand what you're saying, but we're talking about a location here where some light structures are going to be located. This will have no bearing or influence on parking around the city at all. So that's a completely different issue. If you want to raise that, then you need to do that through other forums and avenues. I mean, you can't use this to suggest that someone 3 streets away can't park their car with 2 wheels on the pavement. It's just it's absurd to even consider that.
Thank you for the due correction, Councillor Sanders. I appreciate it.
Okay, is there anyone else? Councillor Sanders, Sue?
As far as, I mean, our solar energy to power it, aren't they under trees? Are these in the shade of trees? Sorry, I didn't.
Right, thank you. We'll move on to the vote now. All those in favour of the
I think
recommendation?
there's going to be an
Yeah,
amendment.
sorry, I would like to propose that as a committee we write to Broadland Housing asking them to consider solar or green roofs.
I'll second that, Chair.
Got that? Anyone? Councillor Sands?
Well, one comment, these are going to be a very light structure and they will be totally unsuited to green roofs, but putting solar panels on them would be a different matter. If you're talking about putting a green roof on there, you're going to have a substantial structure in order to hold the weight. So I would agree with the motion if it was just solar panels, but I'm not if we're going to sort of start talking about green roofs and something like that. It's be like putting a green roof on your little garden shed to put your lawnmower in.
It's a good point, Vice Chair, about the weight.
Can I come back on that?
Yeah, you can do it at the end. Yeah.
I do-
Anyone else wish to speak first? No? Back to you and Judith. It's all yours.
Well, I mean, I don't know how strong these are, but they must be pretty strong. You know, to house these vehicles. Why not push it and ask? We don't know the structure exactly, what it could hold, and sometimes with a bit of adaptation, you can actually put green roofs on a structure that doesn't look very promising, but with a bit of adaptation at the top, you can. You don't have to have a great deal of soil to have a green roof. And you can get vermiculite and lightweight stuff. So let's request it and see what they come back with.
Okay, all those in favour of the recommendation?
So this is a vote on writing to Broadland Housing to ask for to ask them to consider putting on solar panels and green roofs, and those voting in favour are, and please keep your hands up because it's a recorded vote, I'll have to stand up on people on my side, so Councillor Heckner and Champion, Councillor Lebeck, Councillor Calvert, Councillor Price, Councillor Peake and Councillor Susands. Okay.
Those against, please show.
Councillor Mike Sands.
And extensions?
Abstentions, Councillor Driver.
And Councillor Sweetson.
Sorry, Princely, thank you.
Okay, that's passed then. We'll wait with the letter.
Right, so that now becomes part of your substantive motion to approve.
Okay, all those in, any discussion on the amended?
You've had the discussion on the letter.
Yeah.
It's back to now to the recommendation to approve.
Well, I'm not against the amendment in principle, but I would like it recorded that I feel to insist to putting green roofs would be putting an additional cost on a structure which is only going to be very, very light. So I just as long as that's minuted, I'm then happy. Yep.
Okay, if there ain't no more discussion, we'll go straight to the vote. All those in favour, please show. That's unanimous. Thank you very much. And that's the end of the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair.
They don't